So, Chris Fapes, it's been a bit, but you're back.
Yeah.
You're back. And baseball is not your thing, or is it your thing?
I mean, yeah, I coach a little bit. Basketball's my thing. So, but baseball,
what it is about you coaches, you guys pretty much do everything.
Yeah, from football to you name it.
Yeah. Same thing with you, Ben.
Pretty much basketball, baseball.
It seems like every sport that I go to Killingley High School, there's Ben Desaulnier.
Yeah.
But Ben, you're the head coach of the baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been the head coach of Killingley?
So this is my 6th season.
When did you start? Well, how old were you, I should say? I mean, you're what, 20 now?
I'm 26.
Oh, my God.
So my first season, I was 20. I was hired the June before that after the previous season. So when I was hired, I was 19.
We've talked about this before and everything, but I think it's very unique.
Yeah.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
So.
It was a learning experience at first for sure. But I mean, I feel like I've, been experienced a lot as a head coach and gone through a lot, and I'm still young. So it's, there's been a lot of benefits to that too.
Did you have no stepping stones? You just went right from nothing? I mean, obviously I'm sure you did some other smaller stuff, but no JV,
So I did 1 year of JV. I was doing a lot of AAU, like when I was done playing. But I did basically only two years of it. And then I did 1 year of JV and then stepped right into the show.
Here we are. How was your year last year into 2024?
We felt like collectively we underachieved a bit. We moved up a division. We went to Division II for the ECC. So our schedule got a little tougher, which we wanted to because we had a lot of guys returning from the previous year. We finished 9-11. We had some good wins. We had some tough losses. But we were pretty inconsistent. Like even on the mound, we were putting a lot of guys on, giving a lot of free bases, and especially at the plate, we were striking out a lot. We saw a lot of good arms, but when you play good teams, when you give them free outs like that and you don't really make them earn it, it's tough to deal with that. Right. So we started playing better at the end of the season. We went to the ECC tournament. We won our last game of the season to get to 9 wins. We beat St. Bernard in the first round of the ECCs. They were 17-3 last year, 16-4, something like that. We had a lead on East Lyme in the ECC semis. They scored 4 runs in the 6th, I think, to beat us. And then in the state tournament, we played Suffield in the first round. They were the 3 seed. We were the 30 seed, and we knocked them off. And then in the second round against Ferrand, it was kind of like a similar story as the East Lyme game. We had a 2-run lead going into the bottom of the 6th. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 6th. They beat us by 1. Unfortunately, that was how that went. But we were playing our best baseball, though, definitely in the playoffs. So in baseball, when everything's a single elimination, and that's what you want, right? You want to be peaking at the end.
Right.
So.
Exactly. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. Right?
Yep.
And so obviously you guys started rolling at the end. What's the makeup this year? Did you lose a lot of seniors? Are you senior heavy?
So a lot of these guys, we got 6 seniors. They all play a lot. A lot of these guys have been playing since they were freshmen and sophomores. A couple years ago when these guys were sophomores, we started 6 sophomores and 2 freshmen that year. And Ben Jacks was a senior. And we had one junior, Mason Frazier, who played as well, but that was the core of it, the 10 of them. And so over the last 2 years, we've pretty much lost 1 senior that played each year. And so this year we have, again, a lot of experience. So we have a lot of 3- and 4-year guys who've been starting and playing a lot for the last couple of years. So that raises expectations for ourselves. We feel like we've been through the battles. In 4 years, these guys have seen 6-7 state games, right? So they have a lot of experience in the postseason as well. And I think hopefully that plays a benefit to us this year, especially last year. It's kind of a sour taste in our mouth. We didn't play as well as I think we know we're capable of. And, that's part of the message. Not in high school sports, you don't really get a chance to redeem yourselves a lot of times because you only get 1 or 2 chances at the varsity level. They're lucky they get an extra shot this year.
Was it difficult moving from Division III to Division II?
I would say for schedule wise wasn't totally different. Like when we were in Division 3, we used to pick up some of the bigger schools. I think like the way that you make your schedule is a little different. When you're in Division 3, we get a lot of our local rivals in Division 3, Griswold, Plainfield. Like you already get those games.
Right.
So when you go to Division 2, you don't necessarily get those games. So like I had to go pick up Plainfield. I had to call Tim Lake, pick up Griswold.
This year.
Yeah. So luckily we still have those games on our schedule, but I think it's just when you build your schedule, you have to build it a little differently because you get all the Division 1s. You don't need to pick them up.
Right.
You have to pick up. You just work backwards basically. So.
Gotcha. Can you introduce the 2 players that you brought today?
I got Hayden Laro with me right here, 3-year starter at second base, 4-year varsity member, and Brady Zadora, another 3-year varsity starter, 4-year varsity member. He catches. Both very high character kids. I got 4 other seniors that are great kids as well that we're looking forward to having a great season. But these are the 2 that joined me today, so it'd be for whatever questions or whatever you want to ask them. So it'll be good.
Let's start with Hayden. Hayden, tell us a little about yourself.
I started playing baseball when I was around 4 years old. I played like every sport when I was a kid. I played basketball, baseball, football, did a little bit of wrestling with him. But, grew up, played baseball with all of our team. So I'd say we're pretty close bond.
Great.
I'm a senior. I also started playing baseball at about 4 years old. I mean, me, Landon, Hayden, Lincoln, we've all been playing. Those are just some of the other seniors that we have on our team. We've all been playing since we were about 7 years old. So to get here to our senior year, it's like a really surreal moment. And it's all kind of like sinking in this last year. Like Ben said to us at the beginning of the season, he was like, this is the last time it's going to be really fun for you guys playing baseball. And to just hear those words, it's kind of like, nah, I don't believe it, but it really is the truth. So it's kind of a scary moment, but I'm excited for what the season holds for us.
What I find is that these kids from whatever town they're from, I don't mean you guys in general. I mean the kids from Killingly, Danielson, kids from Putnam, Plainfield, Griswold.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been playing together for a very long time. And it's not just baseball, it's basketball. You see that in football as well. So I would think, Chris, that's a really big plus, especially when you're talking about just the dynamics of a team.
Yeah, and even the rivalries too, what I'm starting to notice in the high school level with all the AAU programs that cover so many areas.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, then you got, other kids that played against each other or played with each other. Or, I know you coached Sean Garvin a couple of years ago. Yeah,
Yep.
I know the family pretty well. They speak really highly of you. And then Landon Manzi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Landon's in my living room on Halloween, just randomly. Just a nice kid, but got to meet him, and I know he's a pretty good pitcher for them. So yeah, it's I love that just kind of little corner of the state, the connections and stuff.
I think it's too like nowadays, like obviously social media, but even more so like AAU, travel ball, things like that. I feel like these kids know each other like a lot more like intimately than like I guess they would maybe. I mean, I honestly, even when I was playing, like social media was starting, but it wasn't like it is now. You know what I mean? But especially like 20 years ago, right? And you didn't really know. You live in Killingly, you didn't really know the kids from Putnam, right? But I think now it's, these guys have friends on every team that we play, right? And
every social media platform.
Yeah, and I don't think it changes the competitiveness of it. I think sometimes it almost even could add to it, right? Because you want to beat your buddies. And but it is kind of fun, though, when you go to the field and you play in another team. Like we're playing in Bacon Academy today, and they've got a couple of kids that specifically like Mason Pingree, who I've coached for years, and these guys have played with and against him. And so it's kind of fun, like having that opportunity to, compete against these guys.
That's what I was going to ask you. What is it like to be on the same team one game and then you leave AAU or something and you start playing high school? Now you're playing against them. What is that like? Do you pitch differently to the kid because they're your buddy, or what do you do?
I think you have some advantages because you know what they're good at and what their weaknesses are. But I think the competitiveness stays the same. You know, you're just trying to go out there and win and try and play as best as you can.
You buy better. Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
Who isn't trying to find a way to save a little money these days? Your insurance shouldn't be the place to sacrifice coverage for cost. At the Burns Agency, we can market your current coverages with a variety of trusted insurance companies all at once. Let us take the hassle out of the process for you. One call, email, or in-person visit to the Burns Agency, and you could have your home, auto, life, or business insurance quoted with nearly 20 insurance carriers. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Better. Better it burns. Much better. So much better it burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better it burns. You buy better it burns. You buy better.
I agree with Hayden. Like it gives you an advantage because you know like what pitches they have, what they like, as a catcher, where I'm going to set up. But I think it actually adds fuel to the fire. Like Ben said, I want nothing more than to just beat my buddies. I want to win. Like it's almost like bragging rights, but it's all for the love of the game. Like it's just so much fun playing against your friends. There's nothing like it, really.
Yeah. It's true, Chris. It's kind of like you get a bunch of guys together, or even girls, when they're playing softball. It's they all know each other. We've talked about it before, like during basketball broadcasts, and then after the game, they're just all hugging it out and stuff like that.
So. That's great. And when I played, it was definitely not like that. So I think you're right with the social media piece. And then the AAU thing, because then you spend these weekends together and you're playing, and I think teammates are, the next thing to family. And
AAU's a long weekend, is it not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You go to, you go wherever, and then you're there all weekend, and you're just in between games, you're doing stuff. And it kind of builds those relationships, which is great. What when you guys look at the schedule, what are you excited for? What games are you looking at? No bulletin board material here, but what are you? Any certain teams, guys you want to play against, or what?
I think we're all excited for just like the Division I games. We want to show that we can compete with the best teams.
What division? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely say the Division I teams. Obviously, we haven't played Griswold in a year or so, so definitely that game. Woodstock, of course, just the rivals. So definitely just those games.
What about you, man? What is like?
Yeah, I think
we pick a couple of games this year that you're a little more thinking about or excited about.
I mean, I think I'd be lying to you. Like we want to play the local teams, right? And it's always fun to play Plainfield. It's always fun to play Griswold, Woodstock, Putnam, like teams that like the kids are around. We're around us all the time, and like that we know pretty intimately, and friendly with. And then also at the same time, like, for us this year too, being an older team, we last couple of years, we haven't fared well against a lot of our Division I opponents. We beat East Lyme last year early in the year, but I would think in the last like 2 or 3 years, that's like one of our only Division I wins. So we've got 4 or 5 chances this year against some Division I teams the regular season. So we're hoping to, fare better and, give our best shot against those guys. And it kind of pushes us too and lets us know where we're at. As far as like, if you play some of the better teams in the state tournament, that's comparable to some of those like Class L schools that will play in the regular season with the ECC too.
Strain Family Motors has arrived. They're your local auto super center. Put some excitement in your day and rent a Polaris Slingshot from Strain Family Motors, adjacent to the Green Onion Restaurant on River Road. Check out Strain Family Motors Super Center on Facebook as well as strainfamilymotors.com for everything sales, service, and excitement. River Road, Lisbon, Strain Family Motors, your local auto super center.
And it's so hard, really, even at the beginning of the season. I'll talk to a couple of ADs and I'll say, so who do you think is going to be really, really competitive this year? And you get a couple of schools will get mentioned or whatever, like Killingly or Griswold. I hear Griswold a lot. I've heard Killingly. But then when the season starts, it seems like it changes.
Yeah.
Like Griswold a couple of years ago was really supposed to have a decent record. And I think they ended up at like 7-13 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it
You can never
depends.
tell,
Like,
really.
baseball is like one of those tough sports, right? Like it's, there's a reason the pros play 162 games. The reason, Division One they play 60 games. Like, you need like a larger sample size for the cream to rise to the top, right? And in high school, it's only 20 games, so you go through a little bit of a bad spell, like a 3 or 4 game spell. I think you were talking about that Grizzly team a couple years ago. Like, they lost, like 4 or 5 1 and 2 run ball games. Like, you flip those games around, right? Your whole season changes. So like that, and we've all been there. Like last year, I felt the same thing. We talked about at the beginning. Like we felt like we underachieved a little bit, but like it's just sometimes it's the little things, right? 1 or 2 runs in a game can make a huge difference. That one pass ball, that one big error, so I think like baseball, like you could easily have a good season or a bad season, and that is swung off of maybe a handful of plays, right? So that's why like we talk about like trying to stay locked in for 7 innings, because any moment can change the game. There's no clock.
Yeah.
The other thing about baseball compared to basketball and football is just the pitching rotation.
Yeah.
You have a stud and you can beat anybody with that stud, but then you might, the next couple guys might struggle. How is your rotation right now?
Yeah, so I mean, our top 3 guys have pitched a lot over the last couple of years, so they have a lot of experience. We've got some younger guys we're excited about too, and guys who haven't pitched as much the last couple of years, but have worked really hard on that, either through AAU or training in the off season or whatever, that have looked pretty good so far. It's just depth too, because you don't know, like kids get a sore arm, and baseball season in high school is only like 7 weeks. So if you get a sore arm and you're out for 2 weeks, like that's a lot of the season, right? So just being healthy and making sure that come the postseason, we got everyone lined up. But I think you're totally right though. When you play a good team and you have your ace going and they've got their number 4 going, like, all right, you might win easily, but like, is that indicative of the difference in skill level of those teams? No, but like sometimes it's just how the pitching lined up, right? If one team plays 3 days in a row and the other team hasn't played in a week, then that's like a huge advantage for the team that hasn't played, right? So
yeah, a game of basketball, you could beat them 3 days in a row.
Right, you play the same team every time.
Smoke them the next day,
and
get crushed.
Yeah, when you have your best pitcher on the mound versus when you have your 5th best pitcher on the mound, that's like 2 completely different teams, right? And that's part of it.
So, can you shout out some other players that are not here today?
Yeah, so
maybe key players on your team.
Ashton Goodwin, he was an All-State third baseman last year for us. He's coming back, ready for a big year. Landon Manzi, he's coming back. He pitched really well in our scrimmage the other day. He's shown great leadership with the younger pitchers so far. Obviously, these 2 guys, Lincoln Waterman, who's an all-conference outfielder for us last year. Dominic Kubera, he's been a part of our rotation for 4 years. He was getting starts as a freshman as our number 3, and he's really learned how to pitch. Like, and he's a great, he can pitch backwards. He'll start you with a breaking ball, try to speed up his fastball. Like, he's a very smart, headsy pitcher, and he's kind of been a bulldog the last couple of years. He doesn't throw the hardest, right? And I think sometimes like people underestimate him because of that. But like last year, he threw a two hit shutout against East Lyme, or they might have scored 1 run, I think. But like still, like he's very capable. And I think in pitching wise, we have a pretty good 1-2 between him and Landon.
Well, who was one of the most successful major league pitchers that didn't throw very hard?
Yeah,
Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
So
it's a similar thing, right? If you know how to pitch and you hit your spots, right, you don't need to throw 95 miles an hour. So
that's the sexy stuff. That's what people want to see on TV. What's the jugs guns?
And so I think Dom's a great example of that. And again, another great example to our younger guys. Like, hey, you don't have to throw 85 to be successful in high school. Michael Fabiano, he looks really good. He put in a lot of work this offseason to be ready for this year. Yeah. And we had a few other returning guys as well that played some time last year. Joey Gould, Jake Voyer, Alex Murdoch. But hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody, but we're excited. But we got a long way to go.
How about you guys? You guys ready to go?
Yeah, I'd say I'm ready. We were all waiting.
See, you're waiting. You're zipping. You're ready to go.
I think it all started in the off season. Like, it's all we've been thinking about, even since our freshman year. It's always been our senior year's the year, our senior year's the year.
Yeah.
And now we're finally here. We're ready to go, and there's something to prove. I feel like we got something to prove.
Chris, any final words for the
Looking
Illinois
forward
team?
to watching you guys play. Definitely in the Griswold game. And, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you guys.
All right, Ben Desaulnier, thank you very much for coming on in.
Yeah, appreciate you guys
players.
having us on. It's always fun to come on here every year and talk about the team and touch base with you guys. Other than the quick interactions at the field for games, right? So it's cool to be able to sit down and actually talk to you guys. It's awesome. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. All right, looking forward to a big season.